Welcome to Murder, Inc. USA, folks. In their quest for raw political power, the Democratic Party and their misplaced priorities have brought a wave of death and despair to the doors of everyday Americans. Now, the FBI officially announced that 2020 marked the largest single-year increase of murder in America since we began tracking national statistics back in 1960. 21,500 souls were killed last year, a 30% increase over the previous year. It is a staggering statistic eclipsed only by the despair of those families whose loved ones became numbers on a spreadsheet. And it was all ushered into existence by the three deadliest words ever uttered in modern American politics: defund the police.
I am for defunding the police.
Yes, I support the defund movement.
Many affluent suburbs have essentially already begun pursuing a defunding of the police in that they fund schools.
I will never stop saying not only do we need to disinvest in police, but we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
That's right, folks. No less than 20 major cities across the United States sought to defund their police department in 2020. North of $840 million in support for police departments was clawed out of city budgets in the name of a so-called community policing reform agenda that anybody with half a brain knows would actually require more funding, not less. And so as cities large and small burned in the aftermath of George Floyd, with law enforcement stretched thin by shrinking budgets, crumbling resolve, non-existent community support, and the constraints of a pandemic from China we knew nothing about, the bodies began to fall, and communities in search of justice found more despair, not less. Of the 21,500 people murdered in 2020, black victims accounted for 9,913 of the murders. Put another way, a demographic that makes up less than 14% of this country made up just under 50% of this nation's homicides. It's a disgraceful reality of American life. The political party that habitually benefits the most from black votes allowed black bodies to be used as cannon fodder and collateral damage in the hunt for a blue November back in 2020. And so Democrats, they got their majority. And the people who made up their margin of victory, they paid the price with their life. Now, ironically, that the elections are over, Democrats won't actually admit the defund the police movement was a disaster. They are quietly taking steps to undo it. In 2020, New York slashed its police budget by $400 million. Now in 2021, Mayor Bill de Blasio worked to restore nearly half that funding, including $92 million for a new police precinct to house new police officers. It's a logical response to the 45% spike in murder the city has seen and the 97% spike in shootings. Let me say that again, folks, a 97% spike in shootings. In Chicago, murder is up 60% since 2019, which is why Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot holds public press conferences about suing street gangs, like this one.
What we are proposing is a tool in civil courts that gives us the opportunity to go after those gangs that are wreaking havoc, and in particular, take away the profit motive from them by seizing assets that they have been able to purchase because of their violent activity in our neighborhoods.
Who wants to tell her that street gangs don't pay taxes, folks? Well, anyway, that's what she's telling you publicly. Privately, she's holding executive meetings about refunding the police. And so you see, while the stench of death and decay chokes the vulnerable, the company line from the left and their allies in the media is, don't worry, nothing to see here. And remember, overall crime is down. Well, homicide is up nationwide, folks, pillar to post. All across this nation, people are being killed. And the hard truth is that this is not just an urban America problem anymore. Because you see, like all poison, once you let it get into the drinking water, it impacts us all. Because the most striking statistic from that FBI data set was not that murder was up in the big cities, but that murder is no longer contained there. From Des Moines, Iowa to Albuquerque, New Mexico, people are losing their life at the hands of their neighbor. It's not just gangs and drugs anymore. It's sons and daughters, truck drivers and caregivers trapped in the crossfire of everyday life. And so it's up to us, folks. We have to assume the responsibility because the cavalry is not coming to save us. We are the cavalry. Outside of the city of Atlanta, the people of Buckhead are trying to annex their community, not to live separately, but to live safely, because their own government won't protect them. In Baltimore, business owners are refusing to pay their property taxes until the city can honor their primary obligation: life, liberty, and security. And so the question becomes, what will you do to help ensure death does not come to your door, to ensure that your family does not become a statistic, that your child's future holds more in store for them than a bullet in a body bag? Because crime does pay, and slogans like defund police do in fact help win elections. But if we, the people, are tired of paying the price for that crime with our lives, then it's up to us to stop it now, once and for all.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.